All right. So I'm gonna put the Moreau music back on because it's fun and pleasant. All right. So last time, the party continued their fight against Alistair as we broke halfway through to pick up last time, where you guys were successful in defeating him. You guys searched the body and you obtained quite a few different magical items, which got distributed between you. And you got a little bit more info from within that laboratory. As you recovered from fighting and kind of took a quick little rest to regain a bit of strength, level up, and what have you, you saw that the walls and the doors and the ceiling were kind of being ripped away by the astral plane, which was no longer being held back into the floor of the main lobby that was in that portal and the floor of the front of the building. You guys eventually decided to jump into that space and swim again through the astral sea, pushing through a portal, which eventually led you to the capital city of the Swiftnese Empire called Moreau. Naomi, knowing the city, took the lead and began maneuvering towards the castle, where you passed lots of different soldiers that acknowledged you for, being the basically third in command, or at least the younger sibling of the commander and the assistant commander or general. You made your way to the barracks after a few of the soldiers told you that one of your siblings was there. Made your way up to the upstairs, where you saw the general giving a speech to some older gentlemen who looked to be benefactors of the military in some form. You know that they used to be involved in the military, but they've since retired. But they like to get updates, since they give money and time and clout to different people when things need to get done. You then did speak to your sister, who looked a bit harsh at first, but then welcomed you back to town with a welcoming hug, cracking your vertebrae from neck to tailbone and leaving you a little less stressed than you were a few minutes ago. So you find yourselves being invited to lunch from General Hall, who you three had not stepped up yet to talk to her, but Naomi obviously knows her and is currently being released from a chiropractic hug from her sister. You guys, so that you hear her back crack through the metal armor.
Are you okay?
This is normal.
Oh, okay.
It's not as bad as my brother's.
And she kind of laughs and goes, huh, yeah, he's he got bigger and he's stronger. Do not recommend.
Not surprised. Where is he?
You remember the outpost that he likes to go to?
Yes.
He went back. He went back. Again.
How many times does that make it this year?
4, I think, maybe. I don't know. I don't keep track of Bernard that much. As long as he's alive and doing his job, he comes back when we need him. But he's out there working, I think. So that's what he claims. Chasing after this love, I guess. Don't know if they're real or not, but he says they are, so who am I to judge?
I mean, is the betting pool still open? Because I'm gonna put in another 5 gold that she is real. So
I never closed it. It's up to about 8,000 right now.
Is it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Glad it's still going.
Yeah. Maybe one day somebody will get this money. Or we'll just never pay up. Anyway, who are your friends? Who are these people that you're with?
Oh, my apologies. And she will quickly turn around and say, everyone, this is This is my sister, General Esther Hall. Esther, this is Pax, and she will gesture towards the satyr.
Bow and flourish of hat. Hello.
She nods and kind of gives you a little smile and kind of laughs to herself and says, "Nice to meet you."
Likewise.
This is Lady Athena Linwood, and her partner in crime, Gleba.
You and like I'll kind of be like lowering Gleba down so he can say hi too, like off of my hat, so he can see.
Pleasure is mine. A nice frog? Toad? I can't tell from here.
He is a toad, and he's surprisingly powerful. He's helped us a lot. He's a good
Excellent.
friend.
Excellent. Well, please don't get toad slime on my things. I would appreciate it. Thank you.
It's actually quite good for you. I could explain if you have time.
I don't.
And this
Thank you.
this is Drag. She like very quickly like shifts the conversation. She's like, no. And this is Dragon Highmore. Dragon Highmore. He was actually the one that was able to lead us through the Shadowfell, where we were before, and in hopes of coming here, we hope to be able to send him back to be back with his family again.
I give off kind of a, one of the sort of guard salutes I would do back at the camp, because I recognize military.
She returned the salute and says, "Well, I'm grateful you were able to lead everyone, especially Naomi, back here safely. Shall we have lunch? You are all more than welcome to come to my home to eat if you're interested, or you're more than welcome to go and enjoy the city, whatever tickles your fancy the most." So.
Are they home?
I don't know. I left early this morning. I don't know.
Well, if you all would like to join us, some of the best food is made at their house.
And say no to lunch.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Naomi kind of leans over to Esther. She goes, "Please don't tell Mom I said that."
She just kind of laughs and goes, "Oh, you mean Mom and Dad? No, they're not home. They're off somewhere else. I was talking about my personal home. Have you? Wait, you didn't know? You didn't know that we got our own place, did you? I don't think you've been there."
I have not been there yet, but I was referring to her food and not Mom's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, Mom sucks. Don't. Yeah, I won't tell her that. It's not good.
Thank you.
It's too salty, too spicy, and ugh.
Remember
bad
when she burnt that bread that one time and we all had to pretend it was good? Ugh.
Yeah. Do not recommend. I try to forget that every day. Well, on that note, follow me. And you see that Esther goes over and puts some things in her desk, kind of shuffles it around, reorganizes it, locks it up, kind of hangs the key around her neck and drops it down behind her breastplate, puts her weapon on her hilt, her shield on her back, kind of pats herself down to get any of dust of the morning so far kind of off of her, and then starts to walk back towards the staircase that you guys walked up to get to where she is. And she starts making her way down the stairs with you all in tow. And she leads you down through the bottom of the barracks and the guild hall, since they are similar. They have this is like the barracks and an offshoot of the guild hall. The main guild-esque hall of the city is in a different region, but there is like a job posting board here too, where when people are here, they can pick stuff up. More dangerous jobs, as far as like needing proper training and whatnot, are posted here, whereas every job is posted in the guild hall. This is more of a focused kind of benchmark for work. But she leads you down through the main lobby, just people stopping and saluting her, and not even at this point acknowledging Naomi anymore. They're just acknowledging the commander, And as she walks by everyone, silence kind of falls across the room as she kind of marches just through with you guys in tow. And as soon as she walks out the front door, everyone kind of gets back to doing what they're doing. She does make her way through the streets, leading you guys probably 25-minute walk from her offices and the barracks to a more residential looking neighborhood in this part of the city. As you're getting closer and closer, you see that there is more greenery kind of growing off of these cityscape gardens. You see plants hanging off of windowsills, like mosses and ferns growing on the walls, more trees in general. And it's looking more like what you would expect a not quite urbanized neighborhood to look like. It looks like the people here are very proud of the greenery they've been able to cultivate and their flowers. And there are some people who are attempting to grow vegetables from like hanging gardens and whatnot. They're not uber successful, but they're trying. And you recognize that they are definitely, and it's not because they're bad at growing, it's because the soil that they're using, it just isn't the right soil. So.
And I can tell this from where I am?
Yeah. Yeah, just because you guys have to walk past them, as they're hanging from a lot of different windowsills, and you can kind of see, because you know plants as well as you do being a druid, and mushrooms and all kind and funguses,
Awesome.
that just by like sight lines, most times you can tell what nutrients if something's missing. If it's missing the nitrites, if it's missing specific minerals or components that it would need for growth based on the environment that the plants are growing in, they're just
Perfect.
not set up in the right environment based on what they have available to them. So.
Can I like subtly try to spread some spores in there to try and provide some
Yeah, go ahead and
beneficial fungi?
roll a nature check at advantage because you're a druid and can do druid stuff, and we'll see how growthful these fungi are for their plants.
I don't want to make
Be
it
druidy. Do it. You got this.
so weird. Well, I tried to click advantage, but I think I have to roll it twice. Wait. Sorry.
15's
Just
good.
a
Yeah.
15.
So you guys kind of see these little spores just kind of almost this like little cloud of spores just floating away from Mateia. She's like, and they just land in all these different plant pots, and you see the plants kind of take on this. They kind of glow for a second, and then they look a little bit hardier, and some of the leaves get a little bit thicker, a little bit more luscious, and you know that you've given them the spark of life to grow these vegetables. Now, it might not last past this harvest of these vegetables, but these vegetables are going to grow to be pretty good. So they're at least going to get something good for their hard work, and they'll never know that you were the one that helped them. Because they're not looking at you, and they're not even outside. But you do eventually make your way to this quite nice looking house.
Before we arrive, at some point while we were walking through the city, I would kind of lag back a little bit and try and flag over Naomi, like to the back of the walking line, just to chat for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Now it would take her a second to realize that you were flagging her down versus anybody else, because she's like up front chatting with her sister, and she would kind of give like a little hand gesture of just a second, and she would drop into the back to be with you.
And as we're walking, I take out the journal, the main boy's journal, the guy who we fought, that has all the information on the shadow flu and all that stuff. And I will hand it over to Naomi, and I will say, you should be the one to hand this in. This is your home, your king, not mine, and I have no place of authority like I have back at my village, and you'd be able to bring this to the proper people to make sure this plague doesn't attack your home.
She kind of stares at the book for a minute without taking it, and then she'll look up and say, wouldn't it be more beneficial for you to take it home in case it happens to show up again?
It would, but I thankfully grabbed some other journals while we were back in that place, and these notes should be able to do me and my people fine. If that flu attacks any other places, it'd be beneficial if larger kingdoms and cities had this information, and you'd be able to be the one to bring that forth.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I will ensure that this gets the proper people, and maybe before your departure, we may come up with a solution or maybe additional answers that you could take back with you.
That would be amazing.
They're some of the most gifted people in the world that work here. So, while I do wish for speedy answers, I do know at some point they will be able to provide them, and maybe by that time we will figure out transportation to and fro, and we can deliver the information to you personally.
That is all that I would ask for. That sounds like it will work.
Anything can
And then-
truly work when people put their heart to it.
Dragon nods and then continues walking.
Then Naomi will shove the book in her bag and proceed to catch in step with Esther again.
All right. Other than feeding the plant, Anthea, do you wish to do anything else on the way to Esther's home? And Pax, do you wish to do anything on the way to Esther's home?
I think I'm just following along, excited to see what this food is like.
Okay.
I think since we haven't been in an environment like this for a while, I would say to Iggy if he wants to just kind of explore. Jala, this feels like a safe spot, you know. He's got a mind and ideas of his own. He might want his own little adventures, minion quest, so he can go do be filled in later if we need a side quest in the future, Alex.
Okay,
He
cool.
can go wander around for a few hours and have his own fun.
Oh, all right. Is Simon with you right now, or is he still away? I can't remember if you had Simon with you.
Oh yeah, Simon's walking. He's probably forced his way in between Naomi and Esther, just to try to be the center of attention. So that's.
You want to go with
that's where
Iggy
he
on a
is.
side quest?
Simon, go play with your friends. Go play. And he just kind of.
He can do fetch infinitely because he can generate a little twig and then throw it and then generate a new one.
Oh my god. If Iggy started doing that, Simon would just break all concentration and just chase after the stick.
Okay. I think they're going to go to stick quest.
All right, so they run over here to do stick stuff, and Esther kind of laughs and goes, "He's not as smart as his original Simon, is he?"
I can only do so much with the minimal amount of magic I have, so looks is more what I'm going for, aesthetic.
You nailed that.
Looks
For
just
sure.
like him, doesn't he?
Even down to the cracks in the bones. Yes, it does. Every time he jumps, you guys hear like the equivalent of like knuckles cracking, but it doesn't seem to bother Simon since Simon's a fae. So he just every time he's running around, just getting up and standing. Then he's fine. So, anything else you wanted to do, Dragon or Naomi, before you arrive as well?
I'm just walking.
Okay.
Just probably getting the lowdown about kind of where everybody is. Is mom and dad on vacation? I do feel like that's a little odd that they're not here.
Oh, yes. They went to see the grandparents on her side. They went to go see Grandma and Grandpa Tarami up in the northwest to kind of get some sun and some warmth a little bit. They wanted to get out of the city for a little while, so they went there. So they've been gone for. They actually left just after you did. They said since you were out and James was out and I was busy, and Ursa and Zylerin were busy. That's what better time to and Bernard was gone. What better time to go? So they just decided to go enjoy retirement a little bit, I guess. So.
I'm on.
Good. That being said, you still haven't answered my original question. Because of where we were, I guess I'm just curious on if Timespan is the same as it was there versus here. So for you, how long was I gone?
Well, let me think. You left about a month ago, I think. Plus or minus a couple of days. I'm pretty sure it was a month ago.
In that time frame, how much different in time was it to be in the Shadowfell?
The equivalent was 3 months in the shadow. So, you guys were... So, the way that we, like, do long rests and stuff in the Shadowfell are much faster than, time-wise, than it was in your world. So, like, you were gone for a month on the material plane, which equates to 3 months on the Shadowfell, because time is wonky.
Interesting.
So,
Oh, funny. It felt like so much longer than that.
No, it was just a month. I mean, but we all know that jobs can sometimes be taxing and make it feel like it's been much longer. We've all had those jobs.
Quite. I'm sure it was just the job. And she kind of looks a little like bewildered and kind of like stares at her feet for a second, like, were we really only gone a month? Like, how
As you look around, that seasonally it doesn't look like it has been more than a month. The capital city does have 4 seasons: just summer, spring, winter, and fall, and it doesn't look like it's been a seasons change. So it's not been 3 months. So the weather still is, it's like a nice fall weather, still like an early fall. So we still have like the livelihood from summer. You still have the warm temperatures, the nice bright colors. You have the plant still thriving and whatnot. It hasn't transitioned into the colder breaks in weather, and yet it's still pretty much the same as what it was when you took the job and left. So it doesn't seem that she's wrong in telling you it's been a month.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have asked me that a little while ago, I would have told you I'd been gone for at least 3 months.
Maybe you need to rest.
The rest would be nice, but after food, I do have to report.
That can wait. And about this time, you guys do end up at a very nice looking house, moderate in size, made of a combination of different types of stone and woods. It looks like this house is big enough to hold a decently sized family. You know from being here before that this house is it's a 3-bedroom house with it's smaller than you would think it to be on the inside, but it's cozy and it's comfortable, and that's what Esther wanted. So that's what Esther got. But so you guys get to the door, and she pulls out some keys, goes to unlock the door, and roll me a D100, Naomi.
53.
Cool. Excellent. Cool. So you guys get to the door. She opens the door, and you guys... House explodes. No.
Welcome home! Boom!
Everybody's there. So basically, you guys enter into the main entrance of the house. You know from being here before that the bottom is more of like a mudroom made of stone and some carpet here, where you can hang up your armor and your weapons and take off all of your heavy equipment and leave all your dirty stuff down here, as you see Esther starting to unstrap her boots and take off her breastplate and her sword and her shield and kind of hang everything up on her weapon and armor rack, which she has over here. And you see placed around here there are multiple armor and weapon racks. There are baskets to put things in. There's very particular places for everything. You know that your sister is a very meticulously organized person who likes to have everything in its place and has a place for everything. So you know to follow suit with her and take off your armor and weapons and whatnot and kind of hang them up beside hers. And Dragon, you see there's a few other mannequins like that, and you guys also see there are places to hang all of your outdoorsy things. And there are 2 sets of stairs which lead up to a door here, 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 and here, all going to different portions of the house. So she looks at you and goes, well, whenever you all are ready and have made yourselves comfortable, we do have guest shoes that you can wear so that you don't have to walk around barefoot because, well, that's disgusting. And point you to the box of guest footwear you can wear.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to look through them without her noticing so that if there aren't cloven hoof ones, she's not embarrassed.
Aw, that's cute.
She kind of sees you looking, and she goes, you hear about herself, crap, I knew we forgot. We can't be prepared for everything. Crap. And you see her get a little nervous for a quick second, and then just, hold on.
I can craft something from scraps that would be sanitary. What's a material that would complement your floor, do you think, my lady?
You know, I'm not necessarily the decorator of the house. That would be my wife. But I mean, whatever you think goes with wood, I guess.
Woody substance then, like wood.
Just not wooden clogs, please. Wood on wood is a very annoying sound that I'd rather not hear any more than I already do.
Thea, would you help me with a mycelial option, perhaps? We'll craft some
Ooh, I like
mycelial
that
platform
idea.
shoes. Okay,
Mhm.
mushroom shoes.
And they could
Can
be
a
very
thing.
spongy and soft.
So
and
you're
they're very
making
good for your instep.
so you're making moon boots from the 90s.
Yeah. They're
God, I
Crocs.
forget everything.
Oh, they're
They're
straight
Crocs.
Crocs. All right, they're Crocs. I like it. Making Crocs. So go ahead and roll me a performance check with advantage for Mateia just to see how well you can make these Crocs.
Yeah, that's
It's gonna be like a
That's
38 or
much.
something probably, but you know.
Let's see here. Performance.
I wasn't
my
far wrong.
These are the best Crocs ever.
Literally make the most comfortable shoes you have ever seen in your life and ever worn. And you put them on, and it's like you're walking on the most perfect mushroom cloud Crocs you've ever bore witness to.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air.
So as you guys get more acclimated to the area and gets more comfortable, Esther says, well, if you would like to follow me, we can head upstairs and I can see what we have available as far as food goes. I haven't been to the market yet today, but I'm sure there's still something left, as long as the other one didn't eat it all. So let's go.
Is
Kinda.
he here?
He should be in school.
Is he
It is
here?
When I left,
She asks again.
when I left this morning, I said, "Have a good day at school," and Ursa said she was going to take him, and I have not been home since then. So my assumption is he's in school.
I wonder. And Naomi will put her fingers to her lips, curl them in, and let out a sharp but familiar whistle. If somebody's in the house, they would know that whistle.
You see Esther cover her ears because she does not enjoy this giant whistle made in a nice, calm, peaceful abode of hers. She kind of sneers at you for a second, and you don't get any response.
I guess they're actually in school. Interesting. Do not look at me like you're surprised that I said that.
She just kind of shakes her head. Just because you ditch school as a child doesn't mean that he will. Okay? He's a good student. He's learning magic. He's got some magic in him. He's got to be smarter than all of us. So,
You say that, but sometimes the smart ones skip class too.
I mean, maybe. It's not like his mom's a good... She encourages the skipping of class and the performing of arts and the neglecting of the studies, but you know...
Arts are important! From the lobby.
You hear from the cloud of shoes in the corner.
And she goes, "You're not wrong. My wife is in fact a bard, so I understand the concept of art being important, but so is being on a schedule, and so is going to school."
Well, it's not my fault that that he and I kind of have the same outlook on things. She kind of gives like a little puppy dog face that Esther's probably seen like way too much in her life.
I'm going upstairs to find food.
I would quickly ask if there were any spare rooms that I could just have for a little time while we're here to do some reading and maybe rest a little, as I don't find myself to be all too hungry as of now.
Oh, yes, we do have a spare room that also has its own bathroom and bathroom and some small chairs alongside of it. If you'll follow me, I can lead you to it.
Following.
So she leads up here and then points to this door right here. And I will just put you over here.
Ooh.
And then, just because I don't know why I put this door there, there shouldn't be one. So you see there's also a bathroom right there too.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
right, this is also very bright light for these rooms, so it's going to be a little bright from the token.
Hey man, they just got really good torches. High quality burning.
I'm going to try something, see if it's changed something. Probably won't, but maybe. Let's try something here. Can you still see?
Yes.
Alright, cool. That's what I should do then. I'll just turn dark vision off for here. That way you don't all get blinded by the torches in these rooms.
When I walk in, I kind of sit on the edge of the bed, and I would take out the other, not the main journal, because I gave that to Naomi, but I would take out the 2 other laboratory notes that I got from the laboratory of the dude, and I would just begin looking over them and reading them in more detail, as I don't think we actually had enough time to fully go over everything before fight started.
Indeed. So you start doing that. Naomi, as you follow Esther up the stairs, you know the layout of the house. You know that they don't have a kitchen in particular, in that their living, dining, cooking space is all kind of just one space. And the rest of their house is dedicated to like sleeping and bathrooms and study. It's more of people come here to all spend time in the one room together, and then they either stay and sleep in their own space or they go home. The house is built more for utility than it is for like lots of small things and lots of rooms. But as you make your way up behind Esther, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Perception 2. I'm
Okay.
excited.
You see that Esther is kind of giving... Esther's a mimic. The whole house
Don't
is a
you
mimic.
dare.
Um,
This is a mimic.
You see that Esther's kind of giving a small tour, and Pax, you'll kind of be up here as well. You actually all be up here as she's just kind of pointing out where things are. She points Dragon down here to one of the rooms, which she says has enough space for a couple to sleep in there, and there's a bathroom in there. This right here through this door is the primary living, dining, kitchen room. This is another bedroom, as well as this over here, which is similar in layout to the one Dragon's in, which is a bedroom and bathroom. But this one over here is their bedroom, as it also has like an office suite in there as well, where they can each kind of do what they need to do as far as working, and then they can also put Xyler in there to do schoolwork when he's unfocused. But as right, which is often with Naomi in the house. But as Esther is pointing this out and kind of pointing out where everything is, you see that this door here swings open, Naomi, and standing in the doorway is your sister-in-law, Miss Ursa Svein. She goes, "Oh, hello."
Ursa! And I will, like, run to her and give her a big hug.
You jump on her. She's like, oh, okay, all right. I'm glad you're not wearing armor. Thank you.
You know, the house rules. I, like, climb off of her.
Mm-hmm. And as you go to climb off of her, you feel this slam into the back of your legs as Xylerin comes barreling out of this other room, trying to stay hidden from you the whole time, but tackles you from behind. Go ahead and make a strength saving throw at disadvantage to see if he can tackle you to the ground.
22. I flip him onto his back.
Oh.
Yeah, because almost had you. Ouch.
I pin him to the ground, and I'm just like, you gotta try harder than that, kid. I knew you were here.
You didn't see me, but ow.
I didn't see you, but you heard me. You should know better than to attack if you know I'm here.
And he is currently prone on the ground as you have slammed your nephew to the ground. You basically just like hip flipped him over you as he tackled you from behind. Oh no, I forgot to put this on repeat. Where is it? Beat play. There we go. I was gonna say music had stopped, but yes. So he eventually gets up with the help of his mom's, and there's like, well, Esther is getting flustered at this point. She's like, everybody, just go in to the living room, okay? And why aren't you in school? And she like grabs him by the ear and just drags him in, as Ursa is not. She's just kind of laughing, as Esther is not pleased at the fact that her son is not in school, and she knows it's her wife's fault. So,
Naomi just walked in just with a knowing smile on her face, like, you question why I whistled.
Cool. So, Anthea, Pax, are you guys following into the room? You guys hanging out? What are you guys?
Following along.
Okay.
Yes, Anthea, what do you think? Have we made enough shoes? Are we sufficiently shoed?
Sorry, my mouth is full of food. I believe we definitely need to start a shoe business, but I think we should see about this food first and meet this family.
And as everyone kind of enters, and Esther introduces those of you who are here to her wife, Ursa Svein, and their son, Xylerin. You all notice, well, the two of you, Anthea and Pax, Naomi obviously knows this for, it being your nephew, that he looks significantly different from both of them, in that Naomi, Esther, and Ursa are all human women in their 20s and 30s, or even maybe just 20s. I can't remember how old I made Ursa, but you notice that Xylerin looks, he's half elven. He's both human and elvish, and he has more of the elvish ears, but he is definitely human in a lot of his appearance, and he does have this strange, like, it almost looks like a tattoo, but Naomi, you know it to be a birthmark. At least that's what you guys have all kind of determined it to be, kind of up his right shoulder, and it goes what looks to be across like his collarbone and up his neck to the right side of his underneath his right jawline. Kind of looks like almost a small storm. Like there's different lightning bolts of different colors of greens and some purples and some clouds that are kind of there, and it almost looks like it's pulsating and alive. And Pax, you know that there is you getting some magic feels from it. And you imagine that something about that gives him some kind of magical powers, but you don't necessarily know what from. You've heard of people having magical marks bestowed upon them before, but you've not necessarily seen one. But Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. They're just kind of there. So, but yeah. Well, she looks over. Esther looks over at her wife and child, and like, well, you were supposed to be in school today, but I guess that's not happening. So we might as well make lunch. And we will deal with this later. And so I'm just going to say this is the little kitchen area over here because that's what this map allows me to do. So you see Esther kind of steps over and starts opening the different cupboards, kind of putting things on the stove and pulling out multiple different plates, and starts just crafting some type of lunch. Dragon, you can hear, because this door is still open, you can hear the conversation from down the hall. Like, not the details, but you can hear multiple voices on top of those of the four of you who came with Esther. So you know there's additional people here.
I will close the door
Okay.
because I kind of assumed I closed it when I came in. Is there a lock on the door?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
All right, I'll lock the door.
Okay. I guess the door. I never deleted the door, so the door is shut and locked.
Well, hey, and then I do my reading.
Cool. Yeah, you did hear a big old, like a body being slammed into a wooden floor, and it was that of a child being slammed into the ground by an adult. So,
he walked into that.
He literally charged into it shoulder first and ended up on the ground. So.
I chuckle a little bit because it kind of reminds me of the sparring I would do with the kids back at the village.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't good fun because it was one of those that you assume it was probably Naomi who did it, but that if she wanted to hurt somebody, she could have. So it was probably ain't good fun, but it was also you also had that, like you said, that memory, and you kind of chuckled to yourself like, "Ha, I remember that." Kids being kids.
Get him.
Get him. All right, so you are reading these books, and what specifically are you trying to discover?
I am trying to discover really anything that's inside of it, because I grabbed these notes when we were in the laboratory. I didn't have time to read them, so I know the main journal had most of the meat, most of the details, but if there are any other details in these smaller notes that contain any information regarding the flu, how it was created, anything like that.
Go ahead and roll a investigation check.
All of these have sucked last session.
There you go. That ain't bad at all. 16. All right. So, as you're reading, what languages do you speak?
Bissell, Common, Elvish, Sylvan.
Alright. Let me pull up one thing so I can remember what languages that he used, because I deleted his character sheet and saved it somewhere else. What were they again? Sorry?
I got you. Hold on.
Very helpful. Abyssal, Common, Elvish, and Sylvan. Excellent. Cool. So you recognize the stuff written in Common. You see that a lot of what is in this journal is very formulaic. This looks like to be a journal of magical inventions almost, and it looks like there are formulas kind of written in here, and they don't look like they're necessarily for spells. That this person you fought for the journal, he had a chemical lab, so that he was an alchemist of sorts, and you also know based on the magic that he was casting that he was likely a strong arcane caster of sorts, which that those who utilize journals for their magic are wizards. So you can put two and two together, and this man was probably in some way, shape, or form an alchemist, a wizard, and probably who knows what else. But the stuff that's in common is kind of little side notes about the formulas that he's working on to try and develop a stronger level of toxicity for the spreading of the shadow flu, as well as the antitoxin to prevent it for himself. And it looks like he was working on it solely for his own survival rather than that of others. Then there's quite a few pages written in languages that you don't recognize and understand. And as you kind of read further and further, you see mentions of a person granting them this knowledge and power, but when they go into detail about like what this person or thing looks like and what it might represent, or if there's even a name, it's all written in the languages in this journal that you don't understand. So you can get bits and pieces, but what you're understanding from it is more so that he was working on how to strengthen the level of toxicity of it, how to spread it more efficiently, and how to create an antitoxin for himself.
Are there? Does it go into any further details about the antitoxin, or just that he's been working on it, or he was working on it?
We'll say I'll roll D100, and do you want high or low?
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna roll myself a D20. If it's below 15, I'm gonna say low.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll a real life D20.
All right, do it.
You're probably gonna hear the slam because it's my giant metal one.
Ka-thunk.
It is low. I want low.
Okay. If it's low, I will give you some more information.
Yes.
It's low. So as you're reading more and looking, once you are perusing through this journal, it's not completely full. This is probably only 60% full of writing. It looks like the pages where there aren't writing, there are a lot of the like diagrams and kind of ingredients list of things. Again, some languages you understand and some you just don't. But you see that the advancements on the antitoxin were more that he didn't have magic strong enough to put it together, and that he didn't have all of the pieces. Everything that he'd been trying so far had worked to reduce the effects but not completely prevent it from taking hold, and that the more that he exposed himself to the disease, the more of his own life force was sapped and the more of his flesh was degraded. And thinking back to the fight, you did notice that the longer that fight went on, when his attention was on all of you and away from his studies, that his flesh was starting to kind of fall off piece by piece, and that in the end it kind of dissolved itself off of his skeleton. So whatever it is, it looks like the antitoxin for him, once he infected himself, was more of like preventing it from taking hold completely, and it was like his way of keeping himself alive to try and extend its research into it further, but he didn't have the magical power, or at least couldn't finish his research yet. So
there are, because I accidentally closed D&D Beyond and I had to reopen it to frantically write all this down. There are ingredients that he didn't have, and he was not enough of a powerful magical person to be able to make the antitoxin.
Correct. He, based on his description of what he had completed with the antitoxin, it had about 50% efficacy, in that it was the actual disease itself was starting to transform him, and the toxin, rather than like curing it, was just extending his life, but at the same time causing some of his skin to slough off and some other things to happen. But as he goes into more detail, it kind of sounds like he's slipping into madness, and he's bouncing between languages, which you can probably find someone that can understand these languages at some point, if you ask around and find the right people, but you don't know what they are right now. You do see, though, that he did mention in this one in particular that he did get the idea and the knowledge to create this from somebody else. It wasn't his original idea. It was an idea that was gifted to him, because he has a history, or he had a history that you learned from Kathy of experimenting his elixirs and whatnot on animals when he was younger, and he initially wanted to create cures and potions and kind of medicines to kind of help, and then he kind of started moving towards if I can to create something to be helpful, I have to be able to break down the thing that harms others to be able to cure it. But as she described to you guys, he kind of started leaning more and more into the darker side of alchemy and the darker side of testing poisons and things like that, and eventually was found testing on humans and children, and was ejected from the village, and kind of brings you to where you are now. So, but he got, after being fully ejected from the village, is where he seems to have obtained the power, as he kind of rants a little bit about how he is going to get his revenge on Kathy and the rest of the villagers, and then obtains this power from somewhere. But he can't. He goes on to describe it, but you can't read it.
Okay. So that's what I'm doing with my time right now. I'm just, going through the notes and doing my best to read everything.
Okay. Cool. All right. So while you're down there reading, the three of you, what are you guys doing up in here while Esther is preparing food for you all?
Would you mind if we explored the house? I'll look at Naomi.
I don't mind. Do you guys mind? And she'll look at the family who own the house and be like, do you mind if they go explore?
Before anyone can say anything, Xylerin hops up and goes, "I'll do it. I'll show them around," and books it out of the chair and out of the room before Esther could grab a hold of him and pin him back.
I feel trapped.
Right. He knows he's in trouble, so he's gonna run away before he is actually in trouble and caught.
I'm gonna choose to fail an insight roll and not pick up on that at all. Great, there's no trouble here.
So he's like, okay, first of all, I'm Xylerin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Well met, as they say.
That's cool. That's what the old people say, but it's cool. But anyway, in here, step through here with me. So in here, as he steps through this door right here, this is my room. I have 2 beds in case, I have a guest or a friend, or, I just want to sleep in a different bed. I got nothing going on, nothing wrong. Or whenever Naomi stays and I beat her up, and then I take this bed for myself. Wait, what? Yeah, I beat her up, and I take whatever bed I want. She's relegated to the crappy one.
You do.
This is the crappy one over here. It hurts your back. This is the good one. This is my one. But you see, this is like a teenage room where there are different posters of like what you imagine to be like local bard bands and
local bands whose names would annoy parents, but whose music is rather tame, actually.
Exactly. You also see that there is a poster of his mother Ursa, who's you see in the other room, and it says Urza the Magnificent, and you see her holding a sword, like a very long rapier almost, in one hand, and it looks like she is kind of moving it around like she's doing some type of dance, and kind of putting 2 and 2 together. You remember that Esther mentioned that her wife is Bard, and that you're seeing posters of on Xylerin's wall of his mother holding a sword and kind of looking like she's dancing with it. You have heard, Pax, that there are different styles of bards, obviously. Some who utilize weaponry as their main performance art. So you can you're starting to put together what type of woman she is, in that she's likely a bard of swords who utilizes her swords as her thing, whereas you use music and creation to kind of bring your magic into existence. She more than likely is using weaponry and sword fighting to do so.
Oh, that's neat. Cool.
Mm-hmm. He's like, all right. Enough with this room. Let's go to my mom's rooms. And he's like, boop, ba-doop, ba-doo, and he's just like walking this way. You can see that there are railings between these stairs and on the walls, so you don't just randomly to the concrete floor below and wreck your day and have a bad time. I'm gonna go ahead and delete some doors that you don't need though. So he steps in here.
Okay.
But he steps through here and says, well, this is where my mom sleeps. Both of them, that's their room. It's very clean, unlike my room. And you step through here and you see that there's this little office in here that he describes as whenever he's grounded, he gets put in here to do his homework and stuff. And then there's a bathroom over there. So, it's got a bathtub and a toilet. See, it even has a hole in the chair.
Dark little closet.
Oh, that right there? Oh, is there no light?
In here, there's no light. That's okay.
Oh no.
Just walking through the office in the dark.
It's cool.
I can see it.
There's no lantern lit. It's fine.
Oh, I see. If I go right in, it's fine.
There you go. That should be better. Should be more light now.
Nice office.
It's the office study room. But yeah, like you saw, our house is mainly made for like sleeping out. So that's it. This is our house. But it's interesting because it's almost like they're part of a weird duplex where when you guys came in the bottom, you had to take the staircase to come up to this floor, but there doesn't seem to be anyone who lives below them. It's just an elevated house with like just this weird little foyer there. So it's a very strange concept for a house, but it works for them. So that's it. And he's like, well, we should probably not be in here. I don't think I was supposed to bring you in here. So let's go back. And he's like walking.
Goodbye.
It's like, goodbye. I don't want to get grounded again more than I already am. And he's gonna walk
Give him a
everyone.
super special secret tour, and I'll give him a little piece of hand-blown glass.
Ooh,
Trinket.
he will take it, and he's gonna stop in his room and put it like right here on his little desk, real quick.
Show him the trick of if you shine light and just this way it bounces light that way, and you can do cool light bouncing tricks with it.
Nice. And let me see what he's got real quick. So as you do that, and you kind of see him step into his room, he's like, hey, you want to see something cool that I can do with it? Watch this. And you see that he takes the piece of blown glass that you give him, and it just starts to levitate out of his hands. And go ahead and roll me a Arcana check at advantage.
Okay.
You're a arcane user.
D&D Beyond. Click.
Click.
Oh, she's being so slow.
Yeah, I think it's roll 20 because it was slow for me. That's cool. That's enough. Cool. So you see that he cast this spell. And as he kind of did it, you saw his marking that goes up beneath his jawline kind of like pulsate and glow for a quick second, and just it kind of like makes this like lightning kind of climb down his forearm into his hands and out the tips of his fingers, and it kind of encases the blown glass object you made him, and it kind of levitates it in like this little storm cloud and just kind of floats.
Cool. So, ooh, you have storm magic. That is very epic. Good for tales to impress the ladies or the gents,
Because I don't know. I'm just kind of exploring my life as it is right now, and it's weird to be the son of the commander and this other lady who's good with swords, and people are always looking at you weird. My grandfather was the commander, so there's kind of that expectation, but I don't know if I want to do that. I just want to have fun. So
Maybe you want to do other stuff entirely.
maybe, I don't know. But alright, I can smell the food. I'm gonna go eat now. So
Yes. Food, good, yes, eat.
he runs back. This is just like a teen who knows he's probably in trouble from his mom and trying not to get in trouble or to get any more trouble, trying to stay on the good side of one of his parents while probably on the bad side of the other right now. So you get in here and you see that Esther has completed lunch, and you have this larger buffet table worth of like family style meals set out, which in whenever you guys have a more than just 2 to 3 people in Naomi, you guys always put on way too much food. It's kind of what happens. That's kind of the tradition that had been passed down from both of your grandparents' sides, that if there's anybody coming, you feed them like they're never going to eat again, and you make way more food than you need.
Yep.
So there's plenty of food, and Esther thinks, where's Mr. Dragon? Is he not going to be eating with us? I know that he's still in the room, but that's where we left him. Does he not eat with you? Is that how this goes?
He's a very light eater, and we did eat prior to arriving, so we can always pack a to-go bag.
Could check on him.
Dagging back.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea. You could just go out the door, go down the hall, and he'll be at the door that I showed you on the left down there. Obviously, there's more than enough food for everyone, multiple times over. And Thea, the door's actually right. Yeah, it's right there.
Okay,
so
good.
so as you get there,
Knock,
the door itself is shut, and if you try the handle, you notice that it is locked. And Dragon, you hear.
I think I knock anyway.
Yeah, you hear a rap, rap, rap on the door. Dragon kind of dragging your attention from the journal to the sound of.
I basically I'm like like a mad conspiracy theorist right now. All my notes are like scattered across the bed. And I just walk over, unlock the door, open it.
I will open the door. Give me 1 second here. Oh no, give me what I'm looking for. No, I can't grab it. It's dumb.
Zoom in like really freaking close.
Haha, success.
There you go.
So you see standing at the door in front of you is Anthea and Gleba in tow on her head. And you open the door to Dragon. Are your notes still all over the bed? Or did you quickly sweep them up?
They're still all over the bed. It's very obvious that I am deep in trying to figure this stuff out.
Okay. You kind of look in and you quickly just see past Dragon as the door opens. There's just notes and papers all over this very nicely made bed.
To interrupt your studies, we're just wondering if you'd like to eat anything.
No, I don't quite have an appetite right now. I'm okay, thank you.
Well, would you like us to save you for later? Maybe pack up a little bag for you?
I would appreciate that.
Right. And let me know if there's anything I can help with, and she'll gesture towards all the notes.
I kind of like hold my hand out, wait right there for a moment. I grab one of the random papers that I couldn't read from.
Okay, makes sense.
And I kind of walk up and point to the parts that I don't understand, and I ask, do you understand any of this? Do you understand what this reads?
You looking at it do not understand. It's not on your language list of ones that you understand. To you, you recognize it as language, but it's not any that you.
I'm not familiar with it.
Roll me, however, just a straight D20 luck check. So just a D20. Okay. Yeah, you are not familiar with any of the languages on this particular page.
Strange. I've not seen this before. But maybe we'll run into someone who does. This is a nice big town.
Thank you for trying.
I'm sure there's some sort of place of study here. We could find someone who could help us.
That would be certainly great. I do hope that I could figure out what this says. And I kind of I don't close the door myself, but I kind of like grab the paper, look at it again, and kind of just sigh to myself and walk back to the bed to put it back down on the bed and kind of just, put my hands on the edge of the bed and kind of just look at all these notes.
All right, you do that.
I'll leave him to do that. I'll leave him in his space. He looks very stressed.
Okay, cool. All right, and as you return, there is just lunchtime conversation kind of happening between Naomi and her family and Pax, and they're kind of talking about like what Xylorin's been studying in school and what Ursa's been doing as far as work, and much to your parents' chagrin, is that Ursa's effectively a freelancer. She could never truly get away from her bardic travels and work. So you know that she kind of just bebops around the city. The city is absolutely huge. I think there are like 1.2 million people that live here. So she just bounces around pretty much every day, looking for a little bit of side gig work, She's very much into the gig economy side of work, so that she just kind of does what she wants to do every single day, and it lets her maintain her freedom and perfect her performing arts, while at the same time being able to be close at home and not necessarily having to leave or struggle to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So, between that and Xylorin kind of explaining that he is he's trying to get, or he's studying to try and end up in one of the magic colleges in the city, whether it's one for like the arcane arts, one for the performing arts, while he's still being heavily trained in the military arts. So he shows you he's got a couple spells that he can do, and as he does some sparring, just an example of sparring, you see that he's kind of swinging his weapon around, and he doesn't look super proficient with it, but he's still younger, so he's still gaining the knowledge and trying to find, just as you and your siblings did as you were being raised, like you train with all the weapons until you find the one that you just click with. It seems like he's kind of in that process right now, but he does show that as he's kind of swinging these weapons around and kind of maneuvering through some of these battle stances, that he'll throw up like an arcane shield every now and again, or he'll make some magic appear through the end of his weapon. He kind of bounces between two, but never really looking 100% comfortable in any of the battle scenarios that he is performing for the group. But yeah, so that's pretty much how the majority of the lunch and the next couple of hours go. Till eventually Esther says, well, I have to get back to the barracks. I have some things I have to wrap up for the end of the day. You all are more than welcome to stay here for the evening and then go. I'd say just wait and go and see the king tomorrow. I've heard he's not in the best of moods. And you know what he's like when he's pissed. You don't want to be on the end of that. So, since I assume he's already going to be disappointed in you for failing, you'd probably rather catch him in a good mood or a better mood.
Yes, maybe I can time it particularly right after lunch or right after breakfast.
Maybe.
Full belly.
Yes, that always makes everyone a little happier. But alas, I'm gonna go back to work. Ursa, Xylorin, why don't you show them around the market? Show them around the town a little bit. Show our guests something enjoyable, so they're not just sitting around our house all afternoon, all night. Again, you're more than welcome to stay. You don't have to, but that option is there. I know that they would they'd love to have you. And you see Xylerin going to raise his hand. He goes, and Esther says, yes, you will be grounded for the rest of the day, and you can hang out with them. It's fine. And you see him go, yes, and kind of fist pump to himself a little bit. And she goes, all right, well,
Nice.
I'm going to depart. I hope to see you again when I return later this evening. You are welcome to take the rooms. Naomi, you can sleep. You can fight for the beds as you always do with Xylerin. Maybe this time he'll get the good bed, but I doubt it. And you two, I don't know your sleeping arrangements, but Ursa and I have spare beds that we can pull out, and we'll sleep here in the main room. And you and your friend Dragon can all kind of decide on the sleeping arrangements. We do have extra cots or mats laying around if you prefer, but that's a conversation for later. So, but alas, I have to go back to work. It's been great seeing you. She walks over, gives you a hug, and she goes, I will see you later tonight. I must be off. She kind of nods.
Who's
For the warm
watching?
welcome.
Who's watching Simon while Mom and Dad are gone?
Oh, he went with them.
Oh, good.
Yes. They somehow acquired little booties of flying for him, and he just kind of floats around. It's kind of funny to watch.
Oh, good. That is very necessary.
Yes, so he just kind of lays there and sleeps, and kind of hilarious. And with that, she says, I bid you adieu. And she just kind of walks out and then walks downstairs, and you hear the clambering of metal on metal. And she puts stuff on, and then you hear one more time the door open, the door close, and Esther goes back to work. So you guys are left to your devices. If you wish to go on the tour of the town with Xylerin and Ursa, you are welcome to go explore this portion of town, or you can pretty much do whatever you wish for the rest of the evening and determine whether or not you want to stay here for the night or you want to find a tavern and stay in a tavern. The options are yours.
At some point, during all of this, all their stuff and all during my reading, I would close the door again, lock it back up, and as I walk back to the bed, some shadows coalesce at the doorway as I summon a giant.
Oh yes, he's huge. I made you guys all a little bit smaller for the map because I couldn't get the squares to fit.
But I summon him at the doorway. After I close it, I walk back, and without looking back and still looking over my notes, I begin talking to him. Yeah, you didn't know level 11 fighters could just summon giants? There's a hill giant in this room right now. When I get to level 12, I can summon Frost.
No, they cannot actually do that. But it's a funny thought.
It needs to be a spell.
Sure.
Conjure giant. But without looking back at him, I begin talking to him, and I say, so what now? We've dealt with one threat to our home, but these notes speak of another. And we are
Quite possible, yeah.
here with no way back that we know of.
Well, I only have access to the memories that you have right now, but I feel like the next step is to find someone who can read what you cannot. That would likely give some type of direction for
That makes sense.
what we should do next. It does seem like, however, that there's the plan to go and meet with the king tomorrow, probably, but who knows? That does seem to be something that, well, the reason we're here now. What do you know of that? Why are they meeting with the king?
Our paladin friend seems to find herself on the failing end of a capture.
We know that all too well. All those times where we failed to capture the food for dinner for Kathy and the kids. This is probably different, though. This isn't missing dinner. This sounds something different.
I get up, look back at him, and I say, we still did our best. That is what matters.
It's true. Well, I think the best advice I can give you right now is find someone who can read and put words to that which you cannot. And we'll go from there.
That is good advice.
I look my shade dead in the eyes and I say, I kind of, throw my arms out a little bit and say, come, let us rejoin. I need some fresh air and my sword at my side once more. And I call him back to be my shadow.
He kind of just turns into like shadowy tendril and just kind of makes its way back into you. And then once it's rejoined, you see that your shadow kind of emits back onto the ground beneath you. Because every time you call out your echo, your shadow, as it's coming from you, it kind of absorbs from the ground. If there is light, it absorbs it into your feet and then kind of just like walks out of you. And then it does the reverse when it comes back in. It kind of turns back into a shadowy tendril mist, absorbs into you, and then permeates out of your feet back into what a shadow would be.
I will begin picking up my notes and getting ready to leave the room to grab my stuff and head out. And I like to imagine that if anyone were walking around in the hallways during this happened, they definitely would have seen wisps of shadow from underneath the door.
Yeah. I'm gonna roll a d20 and just see if Ursa happen to be out there. If it's above 15, yes, the other one would be. Nope. He was more of still hanging out with the family and friends and figuring out what the plan is for the rest of the night, since one of his mothers went to work and the other one's kind of cleaning up post-lunch right now and kind of putting everything back in its place, where it all belongs. And you see that there's a very particular system. Naomi, you know the system too well, but at the Impacts you see that like it's super organized here. You see that every time she goes to put something in a spot, she kind of looks for a second and then adjusts it a little bit. But at the very end, she takes one thing out of place and just puts it somewhere where you know it doesn't belong. You get the gut feeling she's doing that on purpose. Just to mess with her wife. But I think right here's a good spot to take a break for like 10 whole minutes.
Break time!
10 whole minutes?
Actually, let's make it 12 whole minutes. So we can
oh
return
my
home.
god!
Dun dun dun!
12 whole minutes.
Alright, be back on the 10 mark.
All right. So, we are back from our little break. So, what are you guys wishing to do? Kind of hang here until Esther gets back and then rest for the night, or you want to go kind of maneuver your way around the district?
Wandering sounds good, but I'm pretty open.
I'm also good with wandering and maybe trying to find a place of learning.
Okay.
Dragon, at this point, since he wants his sword back in his hand, he would have gathered his gear and started armoring up to walk outside for fresh air. So I'm just gonna
Okay.
zoom. Oh no, wrong token. I'm just gonna zoom right here.
All right. You guys hear the door that Dragon was in kind of open, and you see him kind of walk past you because your guys' door is open. You see him walk past and head down the stairs, and you hear the shuffling of like metal on metal as he seems to be putting back on his armor and his equipment.
Well, I wouldn't mind showing the two of you around town, and Miss Cynthia, if you seek a place of knowledge, I could take you there as well. I guess my question would be, would you prefer a tour guide or an escort?
Oh, well, whatever capacity you'd like to help. I mean, if you have things to do, I could just have you show me where to go, and I don't want to take too much of your time if you have things to do here.
Well, not really. No, I mean, my initial requirement is to return to the castle and report my findings, and unfortunately my report goes directly to the king, who doesn't sound like they're in the best of spirits today. So, to be perfectly frank, I would rather not be in full garb and go maybe a tad bit incognito. I mean, I don't mind showing you around at all, but if word gets around too far that I'm back and not just back for a bit, I would be expected to make my presence known to the throne.
You could all go incognito. How about disguises?
That sounds fun.
I wasn't thinking anything that far. I was just thinking I wouldn't dress up back in my armor or take my glaive.
I could give you some magical glamour if you want to be a new person for a while. You know, whatever, as they do.
She kind of like pauses for a second and goes, "You can do that?"
I can. Max says yes. Michael's like, oh, consult character sheet.
Ursa at this point steps in and says, if you guys want to go out and not be seen, I'm kind of a big shot, a kind of famous face around here. I have a way to help you all with that."
Ooh.
And Xylerin looks over and goes, "Really? We can do it?" And she goes, "Yes. How do you think we stay out of the sight of your mother all the time? We go out and we use some of this other magic that I have. Is your friend Reagan going to be joining?"
I think he also had an interest.
All right. Well, I'm going to go and get the scroll. It is in our bedroom, so I need to go and acquire it. If you could all just meet me downstairs in the lobby with all of your equipment readily on yourselves, I can change everything at once.
You hide the scroll you use to hide yourself and your son from your wife in the bedroom where you two sleep?
I do.
Oh my god, how much stuff is hidden right under my nose? And she just kind of like, her eyes get really wide and she looks down at the floor. Like, she's known this woman for a long time. Like, is this where she hides birthday presents, Christmas presents? Like, Naomi's very stunned now.
As you tap on the floor, you hear a hollow space under your foot.
What?
She just kind of chuckles to herself and leaves. As you, Xylerin's gonna run downstairs too. He's excited. She goes,
1000% pull up this hidey hole. I just want to see what's in there. I don't care what else is in it. I want to see.
It's a small little chest, a small little like handheld size chest, and as you open it, you see a little letter. It says, and it reads, "You really think I'd leave your presence in a place so obvious?" Signed, Ursa.
She's good. She's good. Oh my god. And so I like close the box and I like kind of gingerly like put the thing back on. I'm like, just kind of shake my head.
All right. So as you, I assume you guys all make your way down into the foyer.
Yep. Start redonning everything.
Dragon would be outside. He wants
Okay.
fresh air.
Cool. Xylerin kind of pops out and he goes, "Hey, we're all gonna go out, but my mom's going to disguise us all so that we can kind of blend in and not draw attention to ourselves. Are you interested? She can make you look like whatever you
Absolutely.
want. It's really cool."
It's very fun.
I kind of look back at him, and I'm currently kind of I'm holding the my gem that I have in my hand, the necklace, and I just look at him, and I say, "No, that is fine." I kind of chuckle to myself, and I say, "It seems like I'm a no one around here, anyways. I doubt anyone would recognize me."
She could make you someone fun. She could make you have bright colors and streamers for hair, or she could make you look like a donkey if you wanted to, or you could just look like yourself but younger and cleaner. Not that you're old and dirty, but just something.
In a
He
semi-act,
gives you this like childlike look of, "Hey, please."
in a semi-act of intimidation, yet messing around and stuff like that. Over my own face, the darker visage of the shadow appears. The more evil-looking version of myself, and I kind of say, in a darker, the shadow's voice kind of overlapping my own. I just say, "I'm fine," and the shadow poofs back inside, and I say, "I have my own ways of disguise, if need be."
Well, okay then. If that's how you're gonna be and not have fun with the group, you can be the party pooper. That's fine then, I guess.
Just for the funnies? Okay. I'm messing around with him, but it was still semi-intimidation.
Oh, yeah. He understands that you're not actively trying to scare him, so he, like, when you try to come, he goes, "Ooh," gives you the old, like, "I'm scared, but not scared," kind of thing. So he comes back inside, and at the point, Ursa makes her way out, and it's like, "All right, well, everybody come downstairs, and we'll get going." So
Sure.
as you guys all make your way down here, you see that she unfolds a scroll, and she starts to read from it. And as she's reading from it, she says, "So you can change your physical appearance as well as any clothing, armor, weapons, or anything you're wearing. You can be taller, shorter, thinner, fatter, anywhere in between. The only thing is, you have to still have the same number of limbs. I can't make you have like 4 limbs, 3 limbs, no limbs. Gotta still basically be the same general shape. And things can pass through you if we add things. Like if you're not like Miss Anthea, if we were to make your hat disappear and then someone touches where a hat would be, they would feel your hat. So, just don't get too close to people and kind of, have a good time with it." But she looks back down to her scroll. She continues to read. Then she kind of walks over to each of you and kind of draws like this shape of an eye with an eyebrow kind of on each of your foreheads, including hers and Xylerin's as well. and she completes the casting of the spell. And I will let you guys decide what you look like. But she casts through a spell scroll the seeming spell.
Ooh.
So, and it lasts for 8 hours. So she basically has whole
That's pretty
days to go
good.
do whatever she wants without ever being bothered by Esther. So, but yes. So you guys can either describe now what you look like, or you can just make it up as you go. But I will leave your current and updated forms up to you.
Cool.
So, if you ever wanted to be a different bipedal, look like a different bipedal race, now is your chance just to do it and just be that thing. But once it's complete, she says, "Well, and she's like, hold on." As you look at her, you see that she has looking very athletically feminine and like a person who is actively being able to hold their own in any kind of sword contest, to this 5'2", very rotund, balding, gray-haired man. He says, "All right, well, I think we're good to go." And Xylorin is now a solid 6.5 feet tall. Basically looks the
Nice.
same, just his hair is shorter and bright orange. He does the opposite of trying to blend in. He makes himself look much more colorful. Look like he would stand out in any crowd. So, but he does make his ears go to like humanoid ears rather than elven ears. So that way he at least isn't, there's the tattoo marking is kind of removed. The birthmark marking is kind of gone, and his ears are shrunk down. But he looks very, 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 very colorful in his clothing and his bright colored hair and bright eyes and taller, more muscular stature. It's almost like this has been cast on him enough that he has a go-to look that he likes to maintain, which kind of, Naomi, gives you the view that he doesn't spend a lot of time in school. Probably spends a lot of time with Ursa about the city. And he gets taught the things. He gets taught the ways of the streets, on the streets, from his mom, while his other mom works in the barracks, yelling at people to do their job. But cool. So,
Classic.
right? So they start to lead you out into kind of away from the house. They lead you to the shopping quarter of the city. So as they kind of lead you through, they kind of point out a few different named shops, shall we say? There are lots of different buildings. Some occupied, some not. Some having just small little boutiques and whatnot. There are some bigger stores as well, but they do point out there are 3 different inns, shopping quarter, 2 clothes shops, a weapon and armor smith shop, a general goods store, and a magical item store as well. As well as you see there are people playing music in the street, doing like arts and crafts out, people kind of in little market stalls, trying to get people to buy their homemade goods from them, as well as some street botanists and street food vendors and things like that. So I'll go ahead and just move you guys back to the city because I don't actually have them. So we just have the regular city. And Simon and Iggy return to you guys. Simon looking very worn out after seemingly playing catch for hours. And Iggy looks a little thinner. A few of his branches seem to be gone. He has less branches than he did before. So, but they return to
That fetch happened.
Mm-hmm. They did go on an adventure. They are now very proficient in fetch, Iggy and Simon.
Yes.
Excellent.
We love
But yeah.
proficiency.
So you guys have the entire shopping district to peruse. You can buy things, sell things, just kind of window shop, or just generally walk around. Whatever you guys want. You tell me. You can also look for other things. Shopping district is not something you're specifically interested in. There are plenty of other things in the big ol' city. So that's just where they take you first.
Yeah, I would ask about the location of a library of sorts.
Yeah. So, actually, I gotta bring the other tokens of the family over because they are with you. You see that Xylerin says, "Oh, I can take you to one if you want to go."
Lead the way. And
All right.
before I go, I would find whoever person looks like Naomi, and I would ask to be informed when she is going to report to the king, so I can be present.
So you would wander up to pinpointing Naomi. She doesn't look too different, but instead of her stark white hair, she has this really vibrant orange hair and these big, huge green eyes, and is looking a lot more of a thinner build versus her more muscular build that she traditionally has, and just in like a dress probably for the first time ever. And very awkwardly walking in this styled dress that makes her look like upper middle class essentially a look. But you do pick her out as Naomi, and she says, "Yes, of course, I will let you know. Probably gonna go mid-morning."
I just nod my head, and I will turn to follow the lead of the kid who I'm not gonna shank in an alleyway.
But before you do, she'll reach forward and she'll like grab you and gently put a hand on your shoulder, and you feel the thunk of the gauntlet in a hand that looks like it should just be a normal hand. She goes, "Please don't let him wander off too much. He has a habit of doing so, and Esther would kill me if he wandered off. So please keep an eye on him. And I also believe Miss Anthea is wanting to attend the library as well. And I believe she is." And she kind of like looks over at the barrage of people that are with her. She's like, "I actually don't know which one she is." The Miss Anthea, and she'll call to like the group to see which one looks.
Man, I'm trying to think of what Anthea would choose to look like. I feel like she would probably just go for like pretty basic, blend in with the crowd, brown hair, brown eyes. She might like to like try being a guy, like she just might come across a little more masculine, but you can still tell it's her. She's just kind of like basic boyo.
Do you look like your brother?
Oh, maybe unconsciously a little bit, yeah. That would be cool.
All right.
Oh boy.
So you kind of look like Dragon a little bit, just younger.
Unconsciously, yes. I look like his little brother.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah, I bet. What an interesting time to bring that back up. I was about to ask, so I'm still wearing my armor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
because I know what Dragon looks like. And I was thinking to myself, but I'm sure everyone else sees a different version of Dragon, because I know what I look like, but at least Anthea sees something different than what I look like, than what I think I look like. And I'm sitting here like, I definitely wrote in my description I have orange hair, and 2 people are straight up turning themselves to have orange hair. Whereas Anthea wouldn't see me with orange hair. She'd see me as her brother.
Mm-hmm. That is true. She would.
Confusing.
Right.
How many different looks.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you guys are making your way to a library.
Yes, whichever person is pointed out to be Anthea, I would ask to join me to the library.
Okay. Well, you can very easily do that, and Xylerin will make moves to get you guys in the general direction of the library. So, all right. So you're doing that. What are the other of you guys doing?
I would probably shop at some. I don't have any specific ideas on shopping now, Alex. Maybe magical instruments or whatnot, but I can always DM you those after. Because I'd probably, after browsing and window looking, go to the library as well. Because who doesn't want to go to the library?
All right.
Me.
So it's a
Naomi
library.
does not want to go to the library.
It is a library party for a lot of them. Okay, so you guys are going there. All right. Well, do you have a particular place you wish to go, Naomi? This district or any district?
She would probably find her way to the to like the restaurant district essentially, so like the casual meeting area, and try to see if she can spot like maybe one of her childhood friends working in the area.
Okay.
Or like someone she knows, just to kind of see how the people that she grew up with, how they're doing.
Makes sense. Okay. All right. So you can start making your way there, and let's do this. I will roll a Facebook stock for sure. Facebook stock. I'm gonna roll a D20. 1 to 10 will go to the library first. 11 to 20 will go to friend creeping. Looks like we're going to the library first, guys.
Library.
Library time.
All right, so you see all of the group kind of take off in one direction. Ursa is like, well, you know where you're going. You know the city. Xyleron's got them. I have some of my own business to take care of. And she takes off going what you know to be more towards the entertainment region of the shopping district. So you imagine she's probably going to go and try and earn some coin. And it will be especially hilarious if she's successful in her current form. So.
Yes. 100%.
Alright, so actually I gotta pull you over for recording purposes too, over to this map. So basically
Please.
what I will do is this. I'll
You got a library map?
I've just made one, yeah.
What?
So
Alex is that good.
So you guys are actually down here.
It's
coming
beautiful.
Do you want
Oh.
Iggy to come into
so
the
pretty.
library where many of his ancestors have been murdered in pages of books, or do you want to be outside?
Nice.
I'm just being real. Do you want Iggy to stay in here, or stay outside, or come inside with you?
I don't think Iggy would eat any books. I think he's fine.
Okay. So Xyleron leads you guys to the library, and he's like, well, I'll come back in a few hours. I don't really want to spend time here, so okay, bye. And he just runs off.
As he's running, because I've spent my time, with kids, and to stop him from running, the shadow appears directly in front of him. The second he's out of my eyesight.
He stops. Oh, okay. And he stops for a second as the shadow appears, and then he's like,
and it's gonna grab him, gonna put its shadowy hand on his shoulder and turn him around, and I basically begin walking towards him and shout out, I was told to keep you in my eyesight, and I plan to stick to that.
Yeah, that doesn't really work for me. So we're not gonna do that. So yeah, good luck with that.
Oh,
And you see as he is saying these things, he kind of picks off one of his eyelashes and flicks it at you, and just turns invisible and runs away.
Well,
But
he tried.
he disappeared. Did try.
Oof.
You did try.
I will attest to that. You did try.
Out of character, friends, is it mission critical that we follow him? Because I could just true sight and follow him, but I suspect this is probably fine.
It's up to you guys.
I mean,
What
I
worth a 6
personally
level
have more
slot.
important business than babysitting. If he dies, that's not my fault. I did try. I have a
You
witness soul.
probably-
He's made
I mean-
it this far.
Yeah,
and
I mean-
I have witnesses. If he gets shanked in an alleyway, that's not my fault.
He seems
I will
pretty
say,
street smart.
yeah, I was gonna say, you guys can probably put together that he has capability to use some magic. Some of you saw him using different weapons, so you imagine he's at least able to protect
Hey,
himself.
listen. To be fair, magic really, it won't save you from every shank in an alleyway.
You're right, it won't.
If there's 5 people in 5 separate alleyways wanting to shank you, it might save you from the first 3, but there's still 2 more shanks coming for your stomach.
It's true, it's true. That stomach only takes so many stabs. But yeah, you imagine that he's probably fine. It is just mid-afternoon right now, so you imagine he's probably fine. He knows the city. This is where he's lived. He's probably fine. Probably. So, but yeah, you guys, the 3 of you and Iggy arrive at the library.
Well, as I summon the shadow back to me, I begin talking to it as it walks back, and I simply just say, "Well, we did try. We spent a lot of time babysitting back at the village. What's one kid on his own?" And then I, bring the shadow back in,
Okay.
and I kind of say to everyone else, "I have more important matters anyways," and I begin kind of walking through the library trying to find a translator or someone who knows what they're doing.
Okay. So you're gonna basically make your way around.
Are these the help desks up here?
Help as I can, just wander
yes.
around, try and listen for people who might speak in different tongues.
Most people here, you've noticed, are just speaking in common, unless they themselves gnomes or elves. Most people are speaking in.
I'll walk to this one
In
because it has
common.
paper on it.
All right, you see standing in front of you. That's a big woman.
Jesus!
Oh.
Summon hill giant.
You see there is a woman standing there just organizing some papers. So
I walk up and I say, "Excuse me, I'm having some problems reading some papers I've recently acquired. I need a translator if possible."
oh, one moment, please. And you see that she didn't even look at you when you spoke to her. She just kind of asked you to wait a moment, and she finishes like doing what she's doing and filing a couple of things, and then she sits back down, kind of readjusts herself, and goes, well, how exactly? What languages exactly are you looking to translate? If you happen to know them, that would be much more helpful in me finding the appropriate person for you. Otherwise, this could take a little bit longer than you would expect.
I look at her and I say, "Unfortunately, I do not know these papers. I required them during a very important mission to stop an evil man, and this information could lead us to saving many lives." And I take the paper, or one of the papers of one of the books, I hand it to her, and I kind of point out the few lines of writing that I cannot understand myself.
I'm gonna give her just a straight up. Yeah, language is not written. That is helpful. So that is actually helpful. So she's just gonna shove a +2 to her insight to see if she can figure it out. A 9. At first glance, I don't recognize what these languages are. That doesn't mean we don't have someone here that could translate them. It would be more of recognizing them first to find the appropriate person. Do you want to leave the documents in my care, or do you wish me to copy them, or how do you wish the transaction to go? I don't want you to obviously feel uncomfortable with our processes, so what works best for you?
Amen.
Oh man, this is rough. Uh, I I guess the first thing I would ask is like dead serious. How safe is this library? What's the security? Because I don't want these papers falling in to the wrong hands. And I would be dead serious in asking about that and explaining why I don't want this to happen and why I don't want to part with these papers.
Well, we've never had a break-in as far as I'm aware, as far as here. I mean, we may have, we do have a few different mages that are here quite often. I'm sure some of them know or have the capability to at least understand what languages these are. They might actually be here this evening. It is. She kind of looks at her calendar for a second. Oh, it is. It's actually, one of the local mage instructors who teaches at the lower academy. She actually comes in and lectures this night each week. So, if you wish to wait for her, she may have something that can help you. If you don't mind waiting, or I can take the documents off your hand and give them to the next available mage who can translate them. The choice is yours.
I do not mind waiting. Thank you. And
Yes. I would say feel free to wait over there. That's actually closest to a couple of the windows with the better views of the city. If people watching is your preference, that's a good place to sit. Otherwise, when she shows up, she'll lecture from the far corner of the library, and she points down here.
I would, as you know, I say my thank yous because I do want to learn a bit more. I would ask if they have any books on general medical knowledges, sickness, diseases, stuff like that, for me to read while I wait.
Oh, yes. We have a whole section on medicines and cures and field dressings and things like that, and how you can use different herbs to treat things, whether it's through food, because after all, food is medicine, or other magical means. But you can actually find them in row 6 on the right side of the library. So basically this row right here.
Okay.
So
I was like in my head, I started counting the rows, and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, so basically this whole row is just like medical knowledge and local flora and things like that you could use for different things. So
okay, I would thank you. I would say thank you and all of that, and I would begin walking to this row.
Yes.
And as I spy like Anthea and everyone else, I would kind of give them a nod, like I have what I want. I'm gonna stay here for a while. As I begin grabbing books to read and
all right,
go do stuff.
Anthea, Pax, you guys are also in the library. Where are you wishing to go? What are you wishing to peruse?
Huge library. It's hard to decide. I think Anthea's a bit overwhelmed. I don't think she's been in a city this big.
It is the capital city, so that is very likely that you have not. What were you saying Pax was looking for?
Oh, just any information about if there's cities or communities that have touched or folk from Evermeet. So, like, thinking of the kind of diplomatic mission in my pocket of like what are only kingdoms I should know about that I could like send a message to in the future.
Okay. So here's what we can do. For that, go ahead and say. We'll say that you both end up going and talking to the librarian to kind of find a general area of the library of which to locate whatever information it is that you guys are looking for. She's been the librarian here for the majority of her long life, so she can pretty much tell you without even blinking where the general region of most things you're looking for are. So we'll say if you're looking for things specific to like diplomatic relations, people who have been here before, and things of that nature, go ahead, Pax, and we'll say that you and Iggy are I like this spot. We'll say it's that general area, so you have all these tables, and you have another person up here in this corner who's just kind of it looks like they're repairing books, books that have gotten older, have kind of starting to fall apart. It looks like he's binding and rebinding these books and kind of bringing them back up to the ability to be read and used again. Since, you know, stuff gets old, it breaks, it needs repaired, and you're kind of seeing him create a new life for these old tomes that have been very well lived. But we'll say go ahead and roll 3 investigation checks to see specifically what you can find in regards to your diplomatic missions and magics. Okay, cool. So you find a single smaller book, and it's not super detailed, but it does kind of mention how there was a diplomatic mission from people from your homeland who came here to meet with the king prior to King Marfont, who's currently in power, who took power a few decades ago. They came and they were in the process of building good, positive relations with them.
Okay.
And then due to the uprising and the revolt and the shift in power, they put that mission on hold, but did leave themselves the capability to come back very quickly. And roll me a Arcana check.
Okay. Ooh.
Good. So as you're reading this, you're kind of getting a sense of like magic from coming back quickly. And you know from I think you still have it on your spell list, but from your study of magic, that your folk did, the magical folk, the more magical folk, should I say, from your homeland, did often travel using magical means, through means of teleportation circles and shifting through planes and using fey magic to very quickly get from one place to another. And based on your reading of this, you imagine that there is likely a means of arcanic transport in this city that your people use to get here and get home. So.
Ooh, okay.
So I will say there is, in fact, a teleportation circle in this city. So you just have to find it. So.
Hey, okay.
All right. So that's what you find in your there. And Thea, decided what you're looking for?
Well, I'm not much use for the language stuff, and that's already been looked after. So, other than that, I don't know what my goals are right now.
Okay, that works.
So I think I'll just aimlessly sort of wander and look at.
Find more shoemaking books.
Actually, yeah, that could be funny. Is
you want to learn about
like fashion design?
Here's, if you want to, because I love this idea of becoming cobblers with mushrooms. Because
just on the side business.
Just on the side business. Go ahead and roll me 3 investigation checks as well. There it is. You find a book on cobbling.
Ooh.
So
a fun thing to pick up on the side.
Right. So it's basically cobbling for dummies. You find how to actually reinforce and make shoes. And I will say, with a nat 20, I'll give you, since you found it, I'll give you 1 success. So it'll take multiple days, but you can end up gaining proficiency in cobbler's tool, and you can actually make shoes.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we'll pop back over to Naomi right quick. So I'm just gonna move you all back to the capital city map.
Wait.
And we'll go ahead and say you're looking for your friends, right?
Yep, just trying to see if I can spot any of my former classmates, or maybe some people that I trained with at the academy who didn't go into the military field and kind of branched off elsewhere. Just seeing if there's familiar faces and kind of checking in on them without making it known that I'm checking in on them.
Okay.
Nice.
First roll a stealth check. And then second roll either a perception or an investigation. And depending on how your stealth check goes, it might be at advantage or it might not be.
Well, I'm wearing full plate armor, so
You are.
it's
So, well, I'm gonna say because of the seeming illusion, depending on, you can roll the stealth just at normal because of the seeming.
okay.
And it's pretty loud, so yeah, it's still just gonna be a normal perception or investigation roll.
Okay.
So see if you can find them.
Perception's definitely better. 11.
You make your way through where you believe them to be. You recognize people that you went to school with and whatnot, but no one that you were super close with. Like you when you're at if you're still in the same town where you went to high school, graduated, however many years later, you recognize faces, which is kind of your situation right now. You're just walking past. People don't recognize you, obviously, because you don't look like yourself. But you recognize a few people, and the people you do recognize seem like they're working. You see one person's in a coffee shop, kind of working as you don't know if they're the barista or if they are a server or whatnot, because they seem to be making coffee and bringing it to people. You see another person that you know just kind of like doing manual labor, helping to build some scaffolding up the side of a building which is in need of some repair, and a few other faces just kind of maneuvering through the space where you're at, just not giving you any second looks or anything like that, just kind of making their way through the town.
Cool. Yeah, I just take a leisurely stroll with Simon at my side, just going through town, just watching and observing, basically people watching, essentially, is what Naomi's doing, and just using that to kind of like relax after such a crazy time that she had just had.
Okay, as you're making your way, go ahead and roll me a perception at advantage.
Advantage.
And then Simon can as well, because Simon also can hear.
Okay, good, thank God.
Ears.
He might spot somebody I know and be like, yes, and we'll go tackles. Natural 20 for Simon.
Or a 4. Simon, it's not so much that he sees somebody you know. He hears a couple of voices. Like as you guys are kind of walking, you're just kind of enjoying being back home and people leaving you alone, and just enjoying the era or the air of just comfort and normalcy, at least for the time being. Simon's kind of walking with you, and then he stops for a second. His ears go from being kind of floppy to like directly up, and his tail is like pointed straight out, like something's got his attention. And he stops, and you walk 5 or 6 steps before you realize that he's not step in toe with you anymore, which is abnormal, because he's always right beside you, and unless something's wrong. And you turn and look, and you see that Simon kind of has his lip curled, and he's looking down an alley off to his left, and just kind of growling lowly and kind of quietly, but he's just kind of staring.
I will slowly make my way back to Simon, and in our telepathic link, I'll ask, Simon, what's wrong?
You get back that he hears some people talking, and it's odd where they are, because you kind of look and you see 2 like darker figures down the alley. There's not a lot of light in this alley, but you do see there are two like profiles kind of
I
down
know.
there, and Simon can hear them mumbling
Yeah, I'll be
about
right
something.
Hmm,
Um,
interesting. Okay.
and you can listen if you want to try and hear. And you can know the perception at advantage since you.
Yeah,
do
I'll
know
kind of stop and like casually lean against the wall right next to the opening of the alleyway and listen in if I can.
Mhm.
2 solid 14s.
So you don't get all of what they're saying, but you do hear bits and pieces about how the king is mad. He's disappointed. He's mad. It's causing him more problems, and he's taking it out on everyone around him. And he is not gonna have the power that he thought he was gonna have. He's got to find a different way to get it. So that's about all you hear, just as they kind of whisper and keep it low, and then kind of they're gonna see if they notice that you're there. It'll be this +1. They definitely see you kind of standing, more so Simon, kind of standing at the end of the alleyway, and you hear them kind of hush a little bit, and then the shadowy forms kind of just disappear.
Hmm. This is a long shot, so Naomi's gonna take a step into the alleyway and kind of slowly make her way back with Simon in tow. Is there any ice around?
Any ice?
Mm-hmm.
If it's high, I'll make something up. Damn. Okay. There isn't any like out in the open environment, but in like the coffee shop, there's probably some ice.
Okay. Well, I was just referring to like in the alleyway. My first
Oh.
thought was Ballista.
Oh no, there's none that you can see. Nope.
She was looking for signs of Ballista or anything to do with her prince.
You do not see anything regarding frostiness.
Okay. Do I see remnants of like where those people went? Can I pick up a trail or anything like that?
Sure. Roll a investigation check. And you don't have dark vision, so we'll just do it as a straight investigation.
I
Because
do.
it's pretty dark down. You do? Alright, cool. Then you can do at advantage then. Gucci. 18. Cool.
with
So
a -1, yes.
Right. So you see a few like footprints in the dirt, and they're kind of going. Saw that there are two different sets. One kind of broke off to the left side of the alley, and one is the right. Basically, this alley is like perpendicular. So like the alley goes and ends, then it goes left and right into different regions. And there's a couple footprints that go off to the left, and then the dirt seems to just kind of end. It goes back into more like brick, concrete kind of well-maintained road, and off to the right. It goes far enough that there's probably 15 or 16 steps in the dirt, and then all of a sudden there are no more steps. The ground is still dirt, but there's no more steps.
Blast magic. Okay. I will make my way back out onto the streets with Simon in tow. Still doing my people watching, but a little bit more vigilant, trying to listen for those voices again.
Okay, cool. So we'll have, you can give me, because Simon's got the better hearing of all of you, of both of you. So we'll say you can do a perception or investigation, just a straight one. Since there's so many people, it's going to be hard to get advantage to seeing anybody. But he can have advantage on his perception because he can listen. He has very acute hearing. So
Simon's at 13. Now he's
Pretty-
at 15
okay.
for perception.
cool. So you guys keep your eyes and ear out, but nothing really grabs your attention to where they may or may not be. You hear people complain about the king and people complain about the military, but that's not abnormal. Nobody necessarily likes to be under the thumb of a
Of a ruler.
ruler in the military. Yeah, so you hear like your general complaint, but nobody is like complaining or like talking about the similar things of the king being pissed or he's not looking for power. He's not getting the power he wanted. Like he seems like he's in a more sour mood lately, but I mean that happens with everybody. People get in bad moods. So nothing that would like make you believe that the people you're looking for are in your immediate area anymore. So
All right, then I will just continue on my venture of people watching. So
okay, cool. So making our way back over to the library. Dragon, you eventually get the books that you're looking for and kind of doing some study and whatnot. And eventually, you hear a female lecturing down below you, down this way. There, she has a few people, not many, only 3 or 4 max, who are just kind of listening to her talk about stuff. And you hear that she's talking about the importance of study and the importance of learning different cultures and how they utilize the same magics and how it's repurposed for different things. And after about 25 minutes of her lecturing and kind of talking and explaining and showing some minor cantrip use for things, like her voice gets a little bit louder, the windows kind of close and open. She makes a little firebolt appear in her hand, just kind of showing people how to do some things. They kind of leave, and she sits there and she pulls out a journal and starts writing, it seems.
I would place my books down on the chair
Mm-hmm.
and begin walking up, nice and slowly. And when I approach, I would say, excuse me.
Oh, yes?
I was told by one of the workers here that you could possibly translate something for me.
I can. May I ask who you are?
My name is Dragon Highmore. I'm not from around here, but I have some papers that I can't read, and they're very. It's very important that I get them translated. It is for a very important mission, if you will.
Well, I will certainly do my best. If I could see the papers, I can tell you if it's even something that I would be capable of translating on your behalf. My name is Samantha, by the way.
Good to meet you.
And she kind of folds up the journal that she was writing, and she kind of marks it with a feather quill and sets it to the side and kind of beckons you to sit and kind of rolls her hand across the little table in front of her, kind of gives you the motion of place the documents here.
I would take out, a few of the papers, put them down, and point at and make notion of the languages and the writings that I cannot read.
She goes, well, I recognize the languages, but I cannot immediately translate them. But if you'll give me a few minutes, I can most certainly have the capabilities of doing so. But you will more than likely need to write down what it says, as I have to maintain physical touch with them as I'm translating. So she kind of reaches into her bag and pulls out a small journal and a ink quill if you need it, to allow you to copy down what she says.
Yes.
And you see her take 10 minutes, and she's kind of opening up one of her journals and kind of pulling some things out of it and doing some arcane symbols in the air and chanting some words in a couple of different languages. And you see her eyes kind of flash blue for a quick second, and she puts the book away and goes, well, I will now be able to translate these for you. I have an hour, so we will get through as much as we can in an hour, and then we will discuss what they say. Because I assume if you're requesting I translate them, you will also be open to discussing whatever it is that they say.
I am open for discussion. Anything that can aid my mission, outside sources, outside knowledge from someone with magical capabilities such as yourself would be a great help.
All right. Excellent. Well, shall we begin? I will tell you the languages that you did not understand, which I now can read, um, are infernal and primordial, and different variations of those. So give me some time, and I will give you the information as I uncover it. It'll take me about a minute or so per page. And she starts, like those, like people who read in Braille and they kind of roll their fingers across the rail. She's starting to do that. And as she's doing it, you see the lettering of the words kind of elevates from the page a little bit. And it's like she's absorbing the knowledge through her fingertips as she's reading out to you what it says. But we're going to end there for the session.
Oh!
Mm-hmm.
I opened my Google Docs for nothing.
How could you?
So we're going to end there, right? We're going to end there, and
Rude.
we will pick up in a couple of weeks, which will be the 29th. So,
Right.
because I think I'm off that day. So,
Dang old cliffhanger.
Huzzah!
Yep. Wednesday the 29th or Tuesday the 28th. I can do either. It's up to you guys. I don't care which. So,
Cool.
Wednesdays, please.
all right, we'll do Wednesdays. Works for me. So, I just have to work tomorrow. It's not. But yes, all right. So with that, we will pick up next time, continuing our adventures in the almost dinner time of Moreau in this library and hanging out. So,
Perfect. Great game as always, Alex. Wonderful to play with everybody again. And for now, everybody say goodbye to YouTube.
Bye,
Bye.
YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. Happy dungeon delving, everyone.